Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. Welcome back to my playthrough of Mafia Definitive Edition. I'm sorry I haven't had a part out the other day, I do apologize for that. I was busy with a few things, but I promise from now on we'll have a part out every single day. And we're continuing from where we left off, and we got a trip to the countryside, one of the most difficult chapters that we're doing right now. And also hope that you guys like the cosplay for this part, change it up also for what Tommy's wearing for a trip to the countryside. If you guys enjoy this series, do drop a like. It does help the series out a lot. Also, I'm going to have two more cosplay outfits for this series, so those are going to be two more outfits that I'm going to be wearing for this series, and I think you guys will like them, and I put a little bit of work into them, so I think you guys will really like them. This mission is generally fun. It's generally a cool mission. There's just one part of this mission that can get very hard.
Everything went through Frank. The plans, the orders, the money. You could get the call day or night.
Ah, Tommy. Frank says to wait for him in the garage out in the back, eh? You got the job, I think.
Thanks, Luigi. Sarah's cooking. She's bringing something over.
In this rain? She's a good girl.
I'll see you tomorrow, Luigi.
Also, about Luigi, you can find a note.
It's good to see a smile back on Sarah's face.
You can find a note in a prison later that says how his wife basically made him stop being a hitman and made him retire. No from Frank. Luigi. Sarah loaned these books to March. Please return them. Before thanks, Frank.
Frank, is he gonna meet you in the garage behind the bar? He'll be here soon.
Also gonna talk a lot of history on this part as well. This is the Canadians that they are that they're talking with. And here's the thing, when people think of Prohibition, they generally think of like American gangsters, but there actually was a lot of foreign involvement in Prohibition as well. Specifically Mexican gangs and Canadian gangs also that would smuggle alcohol into America, and they would make a fortune. And the thing is, though, is that the Canadians and the Mexicans, they really didn't have as much risk as the Americans, because think about it, is that if somebody from Canada was smuggling alcohol into America, they live in their country, Canada. So, somebody could buy alcohol in Canada, smuggle it across the American border, and then sell it to speakeasies in America for probably 5 times the price, because it's just how expensive it is. Because it's illegal. And here's the thing is, if they, if the Bureau of Prohibition, that's the police that's going after that is going after, bootleggers, if they went after them, they could just, skip the border and run to Canada or Mexico, and their governments wouldn't extradite them. The Canadian government would not extradite people for bootlegging in America most of the time. The only time that they would extradite like a Canadian is if they were involved in some kind of violence, like some kind of mob killing or something like that. But most of the time they wouldn't. If it was just, alcohol smuggling, that they were, the American government was like, extradite this guy, he's been smuggling alcohol here in America, they would not extradite him most of the time. And the Canadians really didn't have to. Alcohol was legal in their country, and why should they, extradite somebody from, their country for that?
Back in the day, when the boss was still with that phone, he got called out to a hit. Some politician on the take. And his storm's just raging. And we're driving out to the burbs to cap this guy. The street lights weren't so good, so we're driving in the dark. We get to the house, and we're about to make our move. And then there's this lightning flash. And for a split second, in the front yard, I see this head, just sitting there, staring, cut off at the neck.
Nah, this ain't true.
Some other crew had already been out to the house that night. Guess the guy had more than his share of enemies. They never found the body.
Bullshit.
God's truth. Hey, Tommy. You good?
Yeah. Wet, but good.
A lot of conversations that people can miss, but I'm generally like to show all my conversations when I'm going through the game.
Get out, you filthy punk.
Okay. Let's see, what are we gonna get here? Magnum, I'll take that. And the shotgun. Also, a lot of the bootleggers from, like, Canada weren't necessarily gangs. They were just people who would just smuggle alcohol into the country, but they really weren't involved in any other illegal activities.
Thanks for waiting, Tom. The Don and I had to go over last month's numbers again.
Sure. So what's the job?
I want you to help Sam and Paulie with the shipment we've got coming in tonight.
The good stuff?
Straight from Canada.
Where do you need me?
Sam's gone to meet our friends from the north at a farm outside of town. Paulie will oversee the trucks bringing the shipment into the city, but I want you to go with him. Be an extra pair of eyes. Make sure it all goes smoothly.
Okay.
Get the car from Ralphie and meet Paulie at the warehouse. He's got heaters in case you run into any trouble.
That means
Sure,
guns.
Frank. No problem.
Good. Now bring the Canadian home safe, Tommy. There is already a case earmarked for the Don.
Also, if you notice this scene, notice how when Tommy sees Frank walking towards him, Tommy is actually in the garage away from the rain. But he doesn't wait for Frank to actually go into the garage to talk to him. What Tommy does is he actually steps out into the rain. Doesn't have an umbrella to talk to Frank. The reason that he steps out into the rain to talk to Frank instead of waiting for Frank to come into the garage, it's as more of a sign of respect. He's approaching him, he decides to go towards him instead of waiting for him to come to him.
This motor's yours, if you want it, Tommy.
Thanks, Ralph.
Working late, Ralphie?
I sleep when Frank sleeps. Man, he's been working us hard.
Morello's taking bites out of business everywhere else, Ralph. Booze racket's where we shine. We gotta stay ahead someplace.
Well, I just fixed the cars, Tom. I changed the plates again. You can't be too careful.
See you in the morning.
Okay.
This is a secret cutscene, by the way. When you see Ralph here, you don't have to talk to Ralph in this cutscene. It's a secret cutscene. This is this is where Ralph lives here. This is Ralph and his mom. Me and Mom. And Ralph is Tommy's probably the only person
The
that
storm don't blow through. I think I'm just gonna sleep here tonight.
Ralph is Tommy is probably one of the only people that's actually nice to Ralph, though. Mystery Fox discovered. I don't even know what I just did. Okay.
Now brings you a special weather report. The heavens have opened, folks, and we're experiencing some adverse effects across the municipal area. A large storm front, not expected to arrive for several days, hit lost heaven late this afternoon, releasing a deluge of rainfall on the city. If you've been out in the last couple of hours, you don't need me to tell you. There are reports coming in of a number of traffic accidents attributed to the downpour, with fender benders occurring in Oakwood and Chinatown. A more serious accident has occurred near the White Harbor Hotel, which is causing traffic to back up on the East Marshall Bridge all the way into downtown. The police department is attending incidents as they can, but they've now issued advice that people should not venture out on the roads unless their journey is strictly necessary. The roads are treacherous, ladies and gentlemen, so however a good driver you may be, it's just not worth the risk.
Notice how the radio cuts out when you're in the tunnel. That's true. Accurate.
A night like this is to stay at home with your loved ones and keep warm and dry. I know where I'd rather be on a night like this. In addition to the problems we've been hearing,
This is one of the accidents the radio guy was actually talking about right here.
Out of the city has been suspended by order of the aviation authorities. All scheduled flights departing Lost Heaven International have been grounded, and those scheduled to arrive into that airport have been canceled or diverted elsewhere. Now, as bad as that may sound, the latest report from the Weather Service that I've just been handed states that although the rain is heavy at this moment, and that all warnings should be heeded, the storm isn't expected to last all that long. Certainly, it doesn't seem like it will be anything like the big one of 1927. High winds are pushing the storm over us at quite a rate. We will, of course, keep you informed with news on the hour. But before I return you to our musical programming, let me reiterate that the Lost Heaven Police Department strongly advises against motor travel at this time. And on a personal note, I advise staying with your family, friends, or loved ones and waiting out this dreadful storm in the warmth of the home. That's all for now. Some music will be along shortly, and I'll be back to check in with you later. Thank you for listening.
This is the WLH Nighttime section, broadcasting on 570 AM. Stay tuned for more as we head on into the wee hours. Coming up next, more carefully selected music.
This is one of the best remakes ever made. Like, everything is just so perfect, and the city just looks absolutely gorgeous. Lost Heaven is voted dry. Sale of liquor strictly prohibited. You know how ironic that is? That sign is right next to Salieri's warehouse where he's actually smuggling alcohol. That's how ironic that sign is.
Come on, Tom! Hey! Watch it, pal! Just dry it out.
Sorry. You know this place?
Yeah. We've done a few pickups at the farm before. Don't worry. There ain't nothing but cow shit and shine out here. It's gonna be an easy few clams. Boys will load up the trucks, and we'll come straight back.
Yeah, let's make it quick. I got someplace to be.
You see it, Sarah, later. Luigi's little girl, your night shift. You're something else, pal. Protecting the girl's virginity one day and taking it the next.
Lay off, Polly.
Ah, come on. I'm just kidding. She's a good girl. You settle down, she'll straighten you right out. I'm going home to a couch.
That shows you Polly's
stories
depression, by the
tell
way.
About her old man, though. Luigi was a stone cold killer back in the day.
I wouldn't know.
You know she's been helping out behind the bar since she was a kid. I bet she's seen and heard a few things. Probably knows more about our business than we do.
She knows enough not to ask me too many questions.
That's good. She won't ever make a liar out of you. Christ. You ought to marry her just for that. God damn it. Sam should be waiting here, but I don't see him.
Something smells off.
Don't let your pecker get all shriveled up. Probably just trying to get out of the rain. Or into the bootleg. That'll wake him.
He ain't coming.
Okay. Let's go find him. That bastard is just 3 sheets, and I'm wrecking a new suit for nothing. I swear I'm gonna kill him. Here. Just in case Frank was right. I'm gonna go grab them boys, get them sorted out. You go ahead, see what's what. We'll catch up with you.
This is really bad. So they were supposed to meet the Canadians here. So they are somewhere in upper Illinois, possibly upper Michigan. That's where they are, because Lost Heaven is supposed to be Chicago. Look at this. This place for sale at public auction on 1st August 1933. Grand Imperial Bank, Lost Heaven, sold.
Hey, Tommy's going ahead to check on Sam, but we're doing this like always. Walk over to the Canadians, we make sure they're good, we bring our trucks over, and we make the exchange. Got it?
Yeah, sure thing, Paulie.
Donnie, you got that?
Whatever gets it done, Paulie.
Sam should have been right here. Canadians are good people, but we need to be careful.
So this is very historically accurate, very accurate. Is that stuff like this would very much happen where mafias and gangs would meet, Canadians, and they would either go into Canada, but most of the time the Canadians would actually come into America. It was actually easier for the Canadians to come into America than Americans were to go into Canada, and they would meet somewhere up north, and then they would basically make a deal. The mafia or or whatever the American gang was, they would buy alcohol from the Canadians, and then they would probably sell it for 4 or 5 times the price. And they could get away with selling it for 4 or 5 times the price because of the fact that the alcohol was illegal. They were basically making a fortune from this. The Prohibition was the golden age of the mafia. They made so much money during this time.
Someone's been waiting here tonight.
1/4 out of work. Government report shows no end to slowdown. Measures to date have failed to halt economic slide. Unemployment stands at 25%. Farm foreclosures are at a 2-year high, as smallholders battle the combined threat of financial hardships and the dust storms choking the high plains. In response, the president proposed new legislation to help stabilize the banking system. And so this is this is FDR at this point now. So yeah, FDR is president at this point in 1933. Yes. So he would have taken power in January. January 1933. So this is pretty historically accurate. What FDR did was he had ordered the banks to be shut down. I think it was for a week, and then the banks, when they would open up after a week, they would generate more money. So people weren't able to go to the banks for a week. A lot of people were pissed about that, but then a week later, the banks were actually able to generate a lot more money because they had a break. People not constantly trying to take their money out. And then he also, FDR, what he also did was he created FDIC insurance. And FDIC, I would say that's probably one of his biggest, it's one of his biggest accomplishments of all time. And what FDIC basically is, it is Federal Deposits Insurance Company. I think that's what it stands for. But basically, what it is that the government guarantees you up to $250,000 in your bank account. So let's say that you have, $200,000 in your bank, right? And you have that money in a small town bank, and your bank collapses, like it just goes out of business. the government is going to compensate you up to 250,000. So you have 200,000 in the bank, they'll give you back your whole 200,000. After anything after 250,000, they will not compensate. They only compensate you up to 250,000. Most people do not have more than $250,000 in the bank. So it's actually a great system. And if you have money in multiple accounts, I think that also counts. So if you have like money in one bank and 200,000 in another bank, 200,000 in another bank, and both banks go to business, I think the government will compensate you 400,000. So depending on the amount of accounts in different banks, it has to be a different bank though. It can't be a different account that the government will compensate you. And normally, I'm a pretty small government guy, but I do think that FDIC was generally a good idea because it did, you know, give people greater confidence in putting their money away in savings accounts and gave people more ease of mind. Because back then, before FDIC insurance, the bank went out of business, your money was gone. They did not have to compensate you, there was nothing that the government wouldn't help you, there was nothing that you could pretty much do.
Guy we pay to keep this place in check don't even pretend to farm now.
The guy they pay to keep this place in check, yep, he's pretending to be a farmer, but he doesn't really do anything. There's a lot of clues that you can actually find in this mission. I'm going to show you all of them.
This don't feel right.
Something happened here. See this? This is really creepy, this note. Missing farmer found dead. Lost Heaven, Illinois. June 17th. Harry Smith, missing for 2 months, was confirmed dead today by the Lost Heaven County Coroner's Office. A fruitless search led by the farmer's father and neighbors ended several weeks ago. The grisly discovery of the body was made by local children looking for edible mushrooms and berries in the woodlands local Cops Farm. That's this place. The death is not being treated as suspicious due to how Mr. Smith's body was found, hanging by the neck. He is survived by his elderly father. So this is this right here is this guy. This was not a suicide. This was a murder. That's the reason that this note is here. Now, why was this person killed? This is I can think of two things. Either this person, it doesn't really explain. It says missing farmer. So either he was a witness, he saw them smuggling alcohol here at this farm, and they got rid of him and killed him and made it look like a suicide. Or B, he was actually the younger son that actually was going to own this farm. And they killed him, and then they probably pressured the father, the elderly father, into selling the place. Or they couldn't keep up with the place, and the elderly father couldn't keep up with the farm, and then the farm basically collapsed because there was a note at the front, remember, that said that the bank seized the farm. So this was probably the previous owner that they had killed here, just so that they could take over the farm. And this is a really big misconception about the mafia that people have. People think, oh, the mafia doesn't kill innocent people. This is a perfect example of that. If somebody's in the way, and the mafia can make a lot of money, even if it's a totally innocent person, they'll get rid of them. They'll get rid of them. And so people think, oh, the gangsters, they were just smuggling alcohol. They weren't really killing people. That's not true.
Place is derelict.
Yeah, see, this moonshine, they were making moonshine right here. Falcone card. Okay. This.
What kind of guy shoots a dog?
I'm gonna check every building.
Where the hell are you hiding?
There's a bunch of clues that you can find in this mission.
Jesus Christ, Sam.
There's nothing here at the moment. Let's investigate the truck.
Hey, buddy.
That's the Canadians.
Drop your weapon. You first. We don't have time for this. Sorry, pal. Guess we're doing this the hard way.
Okay, then.
Get over here! I got him pinned down!
No place to run!
I got a Tommy gun. Okay. You can destroy their cover. I forgot about that.
Found you.
Damn, okay, this guy's getting a bit annoying here. Got him. Okay. Canadian Telegram. Received at 99 Ox Boulevard, Ottawa. Ottawa is the capital of Canada. 1st February, 4 p.m. Canuck Cousins. Meet at usual place. Uncle is happy that gift is on the way. So again, they're using code language. Criminals use code language, and they say meet at usual place. Very vague. They don't say exactly where. So that the police, if they see the telegram, Uncle is happy that gift is on the way. Uncle probably means Don, and gift is the alcohol.
This was a setup. Nothing about this feels right.
Wow! It's me, Tom.
Polly, what took you so long?
Looking for Sammy. Did you find him?
Nah, not yet. Just him.
Canadian crew. Dollars to donuts, the rest are face down in the dirt, too.
Now this is really bad.
Oh, Christ. They're cops, Tommy.
Well, how would I know? They didn't show a badge. Yeah, they didn't say anything.
They must be in Morello's pocket. This bastard. He can't even let us have this one racket. Forget about it, Tom. We gotta find Sam and get out of here.
Border Patrol, that's what it says there.
These guys are the real deal. They gotta be cops from the Border Patrol. Fuck. They've come heavy, all right. Make Lost Heaven PD look like pussycats.
Another note. Farm, Bridge. Cops Farm, 9 o'clock. North on County Road, 2 miles. Right at gas station. Follow sign to dam, 1 mile. Then left after bridge. Now, what I was going to say about this is that these guys that you killed right here, these guys are Bureau of Prohibition. Now, the Bureau of Prohibition, these guys were created as part of the Bureau of Internal Revenue right when Prohibition was passed. So right when Prohibition was, passed and Prohibition went into law. Prohibition went into law, that was 1919, when it officially went into law. And they were an agency that existed up until 1933. Now, this is pretty important. For anyone who plays Red Dead Online, I know a lot of you guys that watch my channel also, play Red Dead Online. Red Dead Online, do you remember in Red Dead Online the revenuers? The revenue men? The Bureau of Internal Revenue, you remember those guys? The guys who stop your moonshine cart as you're going, through, they try to stop you from smuggling moonshine? Those guys were real, the revenue men. And here's the thing. The revenue men became the Bureau of Prohibition. So these guys are revenuers, the guys from Red Dead Online. But Red Dead Online takes place 30 years before this game. So this is 30 years later. But these guys are basically the exact same agency. They are the exact same group. Now about Bureau of Prohibition, when they were Bureau of Internal Revenue. The thing about Bureau of Internal Revenue is that the Bureau of Internal Revenue, this agency, still exists today. A lot of people don't know that, but every American, if you're an American, you know this agency well because you deal with them every single year. They are the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. Yes, that's right. The Bureau of Internal Revenue are the IRS today, the Internal Revenue Service. And the Internal Revenue Service is the most hated government agency in America. Americans hate them the most out of any government agency for obvious reasons. They're the tax agency. The reason the Americans hate the IRS so much is because of how much they interfere in people's finances, and people act like the IRS is a legal mafia. I consider them a legal mafia in a way too, because it's like whenever you're doing your taxes every single year, you have to make sure that you are 100% accurate at everything. If you just they make you do your taxes on your own, they don't, provide any kind of assistance with making your taxes. But then if you make one, even one honest mistake, they will go after you. They will go after you, they'll charge you fees, they'll call you, they'll harass you, in worst cases, they'll jail you. So that's why IRS are generally the most hated, government agency in America, just the taxes interfering in people's personal finances. But here's the thing. The IRS actually used to be a lot bigger. When they were the Bureau of Internal Revenue, they became the IRS in 1950, I think it was 1952, when they were named, they changed their name from the Bureau of Internal Revenue to the Internal Revenue Service, so their name changed. But about them, the reason that they were trying to stop moonshine during like the times of Red Dead Online, even though alcohol was legal in that time, the reason that they were so desperate to stop moonshine is because back then, in that time period, there was no income tax. A lot of Americans don't know this, is there was no income tax until 1913. So 1913 is when the federal income tax was actually passed with Woodrow Wilson, which I talked about Woodrow Wilson in a few parts ago. I consider him one of the worst U.S. presidents. But about Woodrow Wilson is that we had an income tax only one other time in our history, and the only other time in our history was we had it during the American Civil War. And we had it during the American Civil War because Lincoln needed, revenue to basically create the Union Army so he could defeat the Confederacy. So he needed, revenue so he could make the Union Army, get cannons, muskets, revolvers, trains for the Army, rations, everything that an army could need, pay for the Army too. And so that was what the federal income tax was used for. But then after the Civil War, the federal income tax was repealed. We didn't have the federal income tax again until 1913. And here's the thing is, before 1913, Red Dead Online takes place in 1898. It's 15 years before the federal income tax was passed. The federal government got money only in 3 ways back then before the federal income tax. The 3 ways they got it: tariffs. That's where the federal government got the majority of their money from, was tariffs with other countries. The second one was taxing alcohol. Alcohol was taxed. And then the third thing, cigarettes. Cigarettes were taxed too. Or tobacco, I should say. And so, think about that. When the government has a much smaller budget to deal with, and alcohol, for example, is one of the few things that they're taxing. That's why the Bureau of Internal Revenue went after moonshiners so badly. That's why they were so desperate to go after moonshiners, because that alcohol was one of the federal government's only tax sources. But these guys were extremely corrupt. They were extremely corrupt in the Bureau of Internal Revenue, pretty bad guys. They would oftentimes take bribes from moonshiners. These agents themselves did not get paid very well, and when Prohibition became law, the Bureau of Prohibition was created as part of the Bureau of Internal Revenue, and these were the guys here that would go after bootleggers. And here's the thing, the IRS back then, or I should call them the Bureau of Internal Revenue, they had an army. So what you see in Red Dead Online, like you see this many revenue men, and you're thinking, do they really have this many revenue men? Oh yes, they did. They had thousands of revenue officers. A lot of these guys, and a Bureau of Prohibition, they had them all over the country, thousands of these guys. And these guys were very hated. People really did not like them. They really despised them. So like they were one of the probably the most hated police officer in American history, or probably Prohibition agents. And about Prohibition agents, oftentimes they would sit at the border. So even though their badge says Border Patrol, they had the authority to operate at the border with Canada, because they knew that that was a prime place where bootleggers would go. But here's the thing is do you know who understands the law the best? It's not civilians, it's not politicians, police officers. Police officers are the people that understand the law the best. And the reason they understand the law the best is because they see the law, and they see what the law does, specifically. And as for Prohibition agents, there were, terrible, scummy, bad Prohibition agents, but then there were some Prohibition agents, they weren't necessarily corrupt, but they just did not like doing their job. And they realized that it wasn't working. Because here's the thing is the amount, by the year 1929, the amount of speakeasies were illegal bars that were, in basements, in back rooms and stores, where people could go and get a drink. The amount of speakeasies actually doubled in 1929 compared to 1919, when Prohibition was, first passed. So the amount of illegal bars kept increasing, and no matter how hard the Bureau of Prohibition tried, the alcohol just kept increasing. More gangs kept popping up, more illegal bars kept opening up, more illegal distilleries kept popping up, and the Prohibition agents themselves realized this wasn't working. It was a disaster, but the politicians did not want to repeal Prohibition, and the reason they didn't, because it was the really religious Christian women that had, lobbied the government, and they were relying on their votes. They were relying on the votes of these really religious people who, hated alcohol, and the politicians really did not want to go against that, and it took them so long to basically speak out against that. But the Prohibition agents, a lot of them were really bad people. They weren't making a lot of money, and they took bribes. They took bribes from gangs, and what Prohibition agents would do is they would take a bribe from one gang, and then they would raid another gang. And so then they would say, oh look, we're cleaning up the alcohol, but then they would leave one gang alone that was smuggling alcohol, but then they would go after their rivals. So mafias did use these Prohibition agents as basically soldiers to disrupt other, gangs. And that's what Morello is doing. Morello is paying off these guys to basically disrupt Salieri's operations. So stuff like this very much did happen. And also, a lot of Prohibition agents died in shootouts. They did. They had a very high kill rate. A lot of them died in shootouts with the Mafia. And the Mafia, basically got pissed at them, interfering in their affairs. But about the Prohibition agents is that these guys would routinely violate the Fourth Amendment. And the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution is the right to protect you from illegal search and seizures. So the Fourth Amendment limits the government's power to basically search you. And the government needs a warrant. If they want to search you, they need probable cause, or they need a warrant. The thing about the Bureau of Internal Revenue and the Prohibition agents, what these guys did is they would set up roadblocks. And they would set up roadblocks in, roads that were going right outside of the Canadian border. So what would happen is, there would be, the Canadian border, and then, a few miles down the road, there would be, a country road. And they knew that a road that would be used by smugglers. And what these guys did was, these guys would set up a roadblock, a few miles out. And they would do that on purpose, because they would wait for the gangs to actually cross through from Canada, bring in the alcohol, and then they would stop them. And the thing is, they would harass innocent people all the time. So even if you were not smuggling alcohol, they would stop your car and they would search you. That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. It's a violation of your constitutional rights. The government can't just do that to you. They can't just search you whenever they feel like it like that. So it doesn't matter that they have a roadblock, but they got away with that. Like, they did that stuff and the federal government really did nothing, so they kind of ignored the Constitution. But that's a violation of your Fourth Amendment rights. You're driving on the road and there's a roadblock and they stop you and then they demand to search your car and you have no choice, but you have to let them search your car. And they would oftentimes take bribes, they would harass people, and sometimes they would even threaten to put alcohol in your car. You know how some corrupt cops actually threaten to put drugs in people's cars today? It was actually the same thing back then, but instead with alcohol, they're like, oh, what is this? I'll put a liquor bottle in your back. You don't want me to put a liquor bottle in your back? I say I found this. Give me some money right now. Bribe me. So a lot of these prohibition agents, like I said, they were scumbags, very, very hated, very despised people. And one other last thing I'll say about this prohibition: if you didn't hate the prohibition agents enough, I'll even make you hate them even more right now. The prohibition agents. Do you know what really evil group had a connection to the prohibition agents and had a lot of contact with them? The Ku Klux Klan. That's right, the KKK. The KKK worked with prohibition agents. Some prohibition agents were actually Ku Klux Klan members. The reason that the KKK worked with the prohibition agents was because the KKK supported prohibition. They were in favor of prohibition. And the KKK, they also despised Catholics, for example. And they said that, like, Poles, Poles who were Catholic and the Irish who were Catholic, that they were bringing drunkenness into America. They were bringing alcohol into America, and also they were attacking Italians, saying Italians were bringing drunkenness into America. And they were saying that Catholics were drunks, and they were basically working with the prohibition agents. They also really hated black people, and they were blaming black people also for alcohol being smuggled in. When a lot of times there was gangs that were from black neighborhoods that smuggled alcohol, but the big guys that were smuggling alcohol were typically the mafia. So it was typically the American Italian mafia that were the guys that were smuggling alcohol. But yeah, that's it. The Ku Klux Klan had a lot of contact with the Bureau of Prohibition. But I hope you guys like the history. Oh crap! I didn't mean to reload. I just lost the extra mag there. My bad there. Whatever. Because you cannot reload, you'll lose the If you want to know also what happened to the Bureau of Prohibition, in 1933 when Prohibition was repealed, the agency was closed down, but these guys didn't lose their jobs. They were just transferred into the Bureau of Internal Revenue. They actually became the alcohol tax unit. So for anybody, ATU, doesn't that sound familiar to another agency, ATU? They became the alcohol tax unit. And also the Bureau of Internal Revenue would investigate also firearms in this time period as well. And then in 1972, the federal government split them up into separate agencies, and you had the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, and then you also had the ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms Bureau, which a lot of Americans know the ATF. It's a federal agency that's in charge of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. But 90% of their cases are firearms related. And the ATF are a very hated agency. A lot of Americans really hate the ATF, but that will be a discussion for another video. I'll talk about that another time. The ATF are those guys, if you ever watch those YouTube videos of those agents that, come to people's houses, and they basically say, oh, you purchased, 3 handguns in the last month, show us your handguns, and it's harassing people. Most of the time, those guys are ATF. They're doing that stuff. Okay, let's retry it. Also reloaded a checkpoint so that I can get the rest of my rounds in the Thompson.
Fuck. They've come heavy, alright. Make Lost Heaven PD look like pussycats.
Look at this amount of blood. Somebody died here. Even if you don't see a body, the amount of blood you see, a lot of times you can tell if someone's dead.
Tommy! You don't want to see this!
Jesus.
Looks like we found the Canadians. See Sam in there?
No.
Like some.
Poor bastards.
What do we got here? Canadian passport, personal description signalment, name Joseph Tremblay, Butler, profession, place of birth, Loup de Naissance, Winnipeg, Canada, date of birth, date, oh, that's also, it's also French, because French is one of the languages in Canada, date of birth, 6th October, 1899, color of eyes, gray, color of hair, red.
Is worth this crap.
Check every building. Sam could be over there.
Oh damn, instinct to reload.
Get up! I see him! Reload! They're on to me!
Crap. Extra one of them there. Lost Haven Police Department. Bureau of Prohibition. Bureau of Prohibition, I called it. George, I have it on good authority Salieri's whiskey handovers tonight. Our mutual friend wants his line of Canadian booze coming into the city. Shut down. I want you and your men at the farm we discussed by 9 p.m. Mutual friends Morello. Wait through the night and tell the boys it's fine if things get rough. They can take some hooch home to thank them for coming so far south.
Yeah, border cops doing Morello's dirty work.
Also, killing a Prohibition agent in this time period is a death penalty, federally. Public sale following the seizure of Cops Farm and the full closure of the business, J. Smith and Son, by the Grand Imperial Bank. Lost Heaven assets will be sold at public auction on Tuesday, August 1st, 1933. So I'm pretty sure they killed the younger guy to take the farm. That's probably what it was, and the father probably couldn't support the farm, and that's... They used it to take the farm. Gunfire out there. Public sale following the seizure of Cops Farm and the foreclosure of the business J. Smith and Son by the Grand Imperial Bank. Lost Heaven assets will be sold at public auction on Tuesday, 1st August 1932. Look at this. This is the newspaper cutting. Harry Smith, missing for 2 months, was confirmed dead. And then following the seizure of Cops Farm and the foreclosure on the business of J. Smith and Son. Yeah, the son was him. Yeah, that's it. So that's pretty much it, is they killed him. They killed him just so that they could muscle their way in on the elderly man and take over the farm.
Set him up!
Oh, I hate when they throw Molotovs. Okay.
Move! Move into cover!
Damn.
Got some heat here!
Okay, got him. On classic difficulty, which I'm playing on, you die in just a few shots. That's why I'm being extra cautious. Click another one, okay? That's why I like the Magnum. It's my favorite handgun in the game.
Thank Christ. We gotta get to him.
You boys stay here and watch our backs. Plug anyone who gets within 100 yards. Except us.
Hey, Polly.
Sammy. Oh, Jesus. What have they done to you? I got clipped. Christ, that's a lot of blood. Can you walk? No, I don't think so. Okay. Just hang on. I'll go get the truck, then we'll take you to the doctor. Hey, you're gonna make it, Sam. Tommy, stay here with him. I'll be back in a flash.
Okay.
Fuck!
Hey, he'll be okay, Sam. We've survived worse.
Sure we have.
Where'd all these guys come from? Take me down, Tom! Get cover!
For them to move up and maybe a little bit more. what is the grenade button again? I had to look up what the button was to throw the grenade. All of them down, okay.
Help me out, Tom. I'm hurting over here. Jesus, this hurts. Jesus Christ! Where's the goddamn truck? Crap, we got cops!
Looks like the Prohibition agents have called in for backup. Damn.
Oh, Christ. Tony and Donnie, too?
Yeah.
What a fucking massacre. How's Sam?
Well, he ain't any worse.
I'll go get him. Keep an eye out.
Come on now. We're going home. I need the doctor, Molly. Yeah, you got here. Just hang on.
I gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Hey, we're gonna get you all patched up. Okay?
Yeah, that is the most...
We got more company.
That's the most annoying boss in Mafia Definitive Edition, that thing.
I'm right here, Sam.
There's some ammo and a Thompson back there somewhere. When they pull in behind you, blast them down. Just don't let them get past us.
That thing back there is huge! Where the hell did they find that truck?
Take him out, Tom. Let him have it. Yeah, he's gone. Dead man walking.
Okay, one down! There's more! Polly?
They're getting close.
Polly, faster!
My pedal is to the metal. Did we lose them?
2 squad cars on us!
These guys keep on coming!
They're getting close!
Got him! Keep going, Tommy! Jesus, where are they coming from?
More bad news coming in from the side!
Ah, crap! They're right on our ass! Okay, one down!
Keep them at a distance from you, that's what you want to do. And when they get too close, you want to blind fire them.
Sam, you okay? We're in trouble, Tom.
Truck's taking too much fire!
Ollie, we need to go now! Ollie, we got...
Had a lot of practice with the Thompson.
I'm a real man too, Tom!
Now here comes the most annoying boss in the game.
Shit!
Shoot out their gun when there's a break!
Already it's destroyed. I had to load the checkpoint already because your health doesn't regenerate on each checkpoint that you get. There's like this chase has like 4 different checkpoints. So your health doesn't regenerate during that.
Shoot out their gun when there's a break in the fire!
Damn, with this truck. This isn't as bad as the race, but it is ridiculous. It just gotta focus fire on the turret, watch when it's reloading, but also keep the truck healthy at the same time.
Break in the fire! Now, Tommy! While they reload!
Wait a moment here.
Now! Shoot the guy! They're reloading! Shoot! Now!
There we go. Now they have even coax guns too on the front. There we go.
Ollie, we're gonna lose him!
People say that's worse than the race. I don't think so. While the boss is a bit annoying, it's not as bad as the race.
Okay, we're here, Tom. You get Sam out. I'm gonna go wake up the doc.
Sam, we made it. We're at the doctor's house.
This is to me, I owe you.
Paulie,
What the hell are you doing here so late?
Evening, Doc. Sorry to wake you, but we had a little accident. We got an injured man out here.
All right, bring him inside.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll stay with Sam. You can take the truck back. Call it a night.
No, I'll wait.
The doc's already got his hands full. No sense in both of us breathing down his neck.
Go on, Tom. I'm gonna be fine. Okay.
Hey, you did good tonight.
Delivered earlier this year on the topic of the National Recovery Administration. This is part of our series looking back over the President's plans and results since his inauguration. While we are making this great common effort, there should be no discord and no dispute. This is no time to cavil or to question the standards set by this universal agreement. It is time for patience and understanding and cooperation. The workers of this country have rights under this law which cannot be taken from them, and nobody will be permitted to whittle them away. But, on the other hand, no aggression is now necessary to attain those rights. The whole country will be united to get them forward. The principle that applies to the employers applies to the workers as well. And I ask you workers to cooperate in the same spirit. When Andrew Jackson, old Hickory, died, someone asked, will he go to heaven? The answer was, he will if he wants to. If I am asked whether the American people will pull themselves out of this depression, I answer, they will if they want to. The essence of the plan is a universal limitation of hours of work per week for any individual by common consent, and a universal payment of wages above the minimum, also by common consent. My friends, I cannot guarantee the success of this nationwide plan, but the people of this country can guarantee the success. I have no faith in heroes, but I believe that we can greatly influence economic forces. I have no sympathy with the professional economists can have no influence on economic ills. One reason is that I happen to know that professional economists have changed their definition of economic laws every 5 or 10 years for a very long time. But I do have faith and retain faith in the strength of common purpose and in the strength of unified action taken by the American people. The President there speaking earlier this year on the National Recovery Administration. Scheduled music programs and regular news bulletins brought to you by Lost Heaven Radio.
Yeah, that was FDR that was on the radio.
you're late. Dinner's cold.
Work.
This right here just shows you the horror of the mafia. I do love this scene when she's hanging the coat when she notices.
Marry me.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so this is, so I guess we'll wrap this up here, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this part. Again, sorry for the delay in this part, but I'll have a part up each day from now on. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.